So that leads us on to the final question. This is a question we ask everyone, kindly comes as a guest on the show. Where do you see the future of HR going? So if we look to 2025, and please feel free to go beyond that time span if you'd like to.
Yeah, and I think I'd have to go beyond it because 2025 is not very far away. No. And one of the things we mentioned earlier is that I don't see us moving at pace yet.
Yeah.
So my honest answer is hopefully there will be a few more organizations that have are starting to touch on HR 3.0. There's a few that are in that space now. A handful, I would say. Hopefully a little bit more than a handful by 2025, but I don't anticipate rapid progress just on the pace of what I'm seeing, and economic conditions will affect that as well. Okay, so things go up and down with the economy, and we can't really predict to what extent it will continue to be an area of growth for companies. So 2025 seems a bit too short for me. As I look out past that, I would hope that a few things start to happen. I would hope that we start to see a reshaping of what HR is within the education and training sector, so that professional organizations and universities and other training institutions start to reshape and rethink what is the role of an individual coming out of a qualification and moving into an HR function, and what types of roles could they possibly play, and move it beyond the kind of service line idea that we've been operating around for some time. So I hope that starts to develop. And then relating to what I said earlier, I hope that we start to see some greater proactivity from HR professionals themselves to skill themselves up, particularly around analytics, but also around agile and what it means to operate agile within organizations, and also a little bit of positive movement from leaders like CHROs in terms of pushing these disciplines more within their functions, so that we gradually move away from that, somewhat away from that swim lane idea, and have much more generalist capabilities and competencies within the HR function. But as I said earlier in the interview, I think it is really, in the short term, reliant on the professionals and the leaders to push that. And if they do that, I think we'll start to see the educational institutions and the professional organizations follow suit and move that ball along more.
And in terms of automation even, if I can get the word right, of the HR function, where do you see that sort of progressing over the next sort of 5 to 10 years?
So I think there is considerable opportunity for automation to play a role in HR. It really depends on scale. So one of the things is when we have these discussions, we talk about the HR function, right? But in some organizations, the HR function is like 10 people, and in some organizations, the HR function is thousands of people, right? So scale is a big factor in automation, and in order to effectively automate a process, you can do that in small and large scale businesses if the process is easily predictable. So you might be seeing, for example, that as we move towards the future, simple interactions with employees, which we already see in some organizations, like can I see my payslip, or can I find out more about my benefits, or those sorts of things become more automated. But anything beyond that, where you're asking for a recommendation to be made or an action to be taken, and for the machine to make that decision and recommend that, I don't see that happening in the near future, simply because no organizations are really operating at a true scale that would allow that to develop, to create accurate recommendations on anything more than basic decision making. So I think where automation has a role to play is in delivering more rapid, general processes in the organization, and it's often about employees or professionals in the organization being able to access stuff for themselves. And that's where we've gone down with our analytics route, right, which is moving more towards a self-serve type of analytics model where people can get all the key metrics for themselves in the organization.
Well, Keith, thank you very much for being on the show. It's been great to have you. How can people stay in touch with you via social media and access the stuff that you're publishing?
The two most common sources that I use, LinkedIn. So I do a lot of writing on LinkedIn, mainly around more general HR and people topics. Some articles around psychometrics there as well. And then for more technical writing, so if you're kind of more of a data science type and you want to get into the nitty-gritty of stuff, I do some writing on Medium, and that's more, examples of how you can approach a particular problem, or ways that you can code things. And so those are kind of the two sources of information that I'd recommend to people if they want to follow some of my writing.
Well, Keith, as I said, it's been a pleasure to have you on the Digital HR Leaders Show. I'll see you soon.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks. Great to be here. Thanks.
Thank you. In this series, we will be speaking to a range of senior leaders who are pushing a data-driven and digital HR agenda. Make sure that you subscribe via your podcast app of choice and also via our YouTube channel for free and regular interviews with the digital HR leaders of the future.